Back to the channel, Moparman 1978 here. Today we're going to feature a little something different other than Mopars. Today's this is going to cover more of the newer vehicles, maybe 90s and on up. You ever notice that when you're driving down the highway, interstate, or just the regular road, you notice that even when it's raining or foggy or whatever, you notice a lot of people. There's not everybody, but there's quite a few people out there running around with uh, vehicles from the 90s, 2000s, 2011 on up, that sort of thing, with their out their headlights on. Some of it is due to laziness. Some of it's due to a lack of information, and kind of a stupidity, kind of a smart thing that's been put into a lot of these newer vehicles. It's got its ups and downs. We're going to talk about its downs today. We're going to be featuring my mom's pickup truck for an example. Not necessarily because it's a Chevy. It's just because a lot of the vehicles have this type of stuff. But hold on just a minute. There's a car coming. Anyway, as I was saying, the guy thought he could probably do like 50 miles an hour past the house through here. Cause a lot of noise too. But anyway, we had a burnt out head bulb on my mom's truck the other day. We replaced that. And then we found out that we had a burned out license plate light. We fixed that. And then we went to upgrade to LED backup lights for brighter light at night for my mom, for safety purposes, since we do live pretty close to Branson anyway and stuff like that. A lot of tourists. Anyway, we noticed that we always figured that a lot of the new vehicles, as soon as you turn your ignition on or you start it up and the vehicle's running, it's always got them, what they call daytime running lights and stuff. Well, this kind of has it, but kind of doesn't. Well, come to find out, I was reading, I thought at first maybe it was the headlight switch, because we were kind of having some issues. It was the original switch from the factory. And sometimes all of a sudden the dash lights would go dim, and the headlights would kind of flicker on and off, or just off. And then it's got one of those dials, and sometimes if we pushed in on the dial and turned it, you could get the light, the light and the not the dome light, but the dash lights to come back on. So it was time to change it out. So I did that yesterday as well. We've been having it for quite a while. We just got around. I watched the YouTube video on how to take the trim off the steps on. It was real easy to do, to get to that little switch, and it's easy to pop out. Anyway, so I was reading, and I was like, I typed into Google, does this particular vehicle have like some type of light sensor, kind of like a night light, or with the security light? After the sun goes down, does the light pop on? It actually does. A lot of these new vehicles have what they call Ambient-light-Sensor. And when I Googled it, they said most of the time the sensor is up around the rearview mirror. So I saw some wires coming down from out of the ceiling behind the panel, coming down, and it connects to the rearview mirror. So I figured there was a hole in the back of the rearview mirror. Maybe there was a sensor, an electric eye or something that. And I put a piece of tape over that. The lights didn't pop on, and then I figured, okay, well, maybe it's the part that glues to the windshield. Maybe there's a sensor in the middle of that faces towards the front of the vehicle. That wasn't it. I covered it over with some black electrical tape on the outside, and then I got to looking, and down on the dash, you might not be able to see it, so let's go over here, because there's a slight reflection on the windshield outside. That little SOB right there is the cause of what causes the headlights not to come on. And the bad thing is, okay, so you got a cloudy day, but it's kind of bright out. Or like yesterday, fog was almost as thick as pea soup from north of Branson all the way to Springfield, Missouri. And there was cars without their headlights on. You know, like I said, some of it was due to a lack of knowledge. Some of it was just laziness. They knew how to turn the dial, but they didn't give a crap. They were just relying too much on technology, on that auto mode, where it says auto, where just it relies on the sensor instead of turn the headlights on manually. And we noticed ours, we had to put the high beams on. And even though it was kind of, it was foggy, pretty thick fog, there was areas where it was still foggy, but it wasn't like right in front of the vehicle where it would just reflect the light from the high beams. So anyway, that's the problem. On the days it's raining, pouring down rain, but yet it's still kind of bright out, cloud cover. Foggy days that's bright, but it's still cloud covered with tons of fog. It causes these lights not to come on. So you have to turn the dial all the way up to where it's got the little light symbol with the little burst coming off of the little symbol, or you can call it the sun, the little sun symbol with the little light beams coming off of it. Anyway, so what I did for a test, they said it could, the ambient light sensor could be bad. So I figured, there's an easy test to do. Took a square rectangular piece of black duct tape, put it over the sensor, turned the keys on just to the on position, and sure enough, the headlights popped on, the low beams like they're supposed to be. And then turn the truck on, the light stayed on, and then I shut the ignition off. It took a few minutes, but the lights shut off. Now, the only downside to bypassing that sensor, if you leave it covered up, you'll have lights running all day long while the engine's running, even driving down the road during bright sunny days. So, and they said in order to replace that, you would have to take the same dash panel trim piece off. You'd have to put the vehicle on the safety brake on, put your foot on the brake, put the key in the ignition, and you'd have to turn the pull down on the steering column shifter all the way to the down position, like first gear. Shut the vehicle off or whatever. It says you can unplug the battery if you want to do with all that stuff, but or turn on and turn back on, that sort of thing. Anyway, sorry, it's cold out here. My sinuses are running. Anyway, so you got to do the same thing like you did to replace the headlight switch, and I'll show you on that. Yeah, they told me on the video that if you grab a hold of the side of this panel, right, and put your thumb right in here and do it on both sides, like where that the air vent is, you can, and pull straight out, you can pop this out, but then you have to make sure this lever is all the way down, and then what you have to do is when you get it pulled out, you actually have to push down in the back because it's arched to clear this piece here. This trim piece is a separate piece from the dash, and pull it out, and that whole assembly comes out. And then the guy said you had to take this radio out, disconnect the radio, get it out of the way, and then there is a small kind of rectangular square shaped hole that goes all the way to the back of the dash, under the dash, to where that sensor plugs in. And he says if you got small hands, you could reach back in there and fiddly fart around with it and get it out of there. But if not, then you start talking about how you had to take these side panels off. These where the fuse box is. This truck's got two separate fuse boxes, one in here and one inside the engine bay. And you had to undo two bolts here, and the same thing over on that side with the doors open. And basically, you had to almost take all, and then take these support panels, or the panels off these support beams here. I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, I really don't care. Just to get most of this crap moved out of the way, and then get your hand back in there to redo it. Pull it out and replace that sensor. Anyway, so That's one option. Just to put a piece of black electrical tape, or you'd probably have to put 3 pieces in a row and make sure it's covered really well. Otherwise, a little bit of light getting in there would affect that sensor to keep the headlights off. But or just a good piece of duct tape, black duct tape or whatever on the over that. Or you could possibly find a solid black vacuum cap, like a vinyl cap plug, to go over that. Maybe glue the sides down on it or something. I don't know. You come up with something. I tried throwing a T-shirt over the top of that, almost a black T-shirt, and it still wouldn't affect the sensor. I guess there was just enough light particles coming through the fibers of the shirt that it wouldn't affect the sensor, so that tape completely blocked it. But anyway, yeah, so that's what the problem was. It's kind of a dumb idea, kind of a smart idea at the same time that they put that sensor in there. But me personally, I think it's a lot safer when that sensors can be bypassed and the lights stay on in the automatic, if you want to leave it in the automatic position during the rainy days and foggy days when there's cloud cover and fog and rain and whatnot coming down, but it's still bright out and you'll still have working headlights. We actually had to turn them up, the dial all the way up, and then flip the lever forward to put the high beam, to leave the high beams on. So, but yeah, I'm surprised they don't talk about that in the local news, evening news, stuff like that. Make it, you know, nationwide, that people need to pay attention to that sort of thing, because they're always talking about, you know, like on social media posts, like we got one on Facebook for the area that, well, I seen all these people driving around in the rain and the fog today, no headlights, and nobody else has any explanation. Well, just by doing a little research, I found out what the issue is. So, so basically, this is going to be a kind of like a safety tip, you know, awareness type video for all these newer vehicles. Glad we don't have to deal with that type of crap on the 80s and below type vehicles. Once you pull the switch on, it's on until you shut it off. So until then, I hope you got something out of this. And until next time.